movements are also called as the nastic movements. Okay, now, yes, let us see how does it happens. So these movements, they occur in the response to the environmental stimuli, meaning whenever any stimulus is provided by the environment, then the nastic movements occur in the plants. But always remember one thing, that the direction of response in this particular type of movement, meaning the nastic movements, the direction of the response is opposite, or it is actually not dependent in the direction of the stimulus. Okay.
Ma'am,
Hmm?
ma'am, just wait. I'll be back, ma'am. Just wait, ma'am.
Okay, okay, okay.
Yes, I'm sorry, ma'am.
It's okay. It's all right. Now see, are you noting it down?
Yes, ma'am. I was writing.
Yeah, see, listen, don't note down right now, okay? Because you know that divides the attention. Let me first explain. I'll give you time to note down, okay?
Okay, ma'am.
Hmm. All right. So yeah, what I was saying is that the nastic movements, meaning the movements that are not related to the growth, the response of these movements, they occur in the direction that is not actually in the direction of the stimulus. So if the stimulus is provided this way, then the response may either be the opposite way, okay, or meaning it does not depend upon the stimulus, you understand?
Ma'am, what is meant by stimulus?
See, stimulus is any information, like for example, if you let's just say you touch your hand, okay, or if somebody else touches your hand, so that is sort of like a stimulus, okay, the
Yes, ma'am.
information that is being sent. For
Yes,
example, if you let's just say if you touch something hot, then that heat, that is a stimulus. Okay,
yes,
so
ma'am.
same goes for plants. If any sort of information that is provided to the plant and the type of movement that acts does not actually depends the response on it, then that type is nastic movement. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. And see, wherever you have doubt, you can ask me. Okay.
Okay, sure, ma'am.
Hmm. Now, talking about the example, let us see what is the example of a nastic movement. Now, you might have heard about touch me not plant,
Yes, ma'am.
right? What happens when you touch it actually?
Ma'am,
Hmm?
it gives some shock-like feelings.
See, like when you touch the leaf of a touch me not plant, you would find that the leaves would close themselves. Okay, the
Yes, ma'am.
leaves would open, but as soon as you touched it, the leaves closed. So this type, your touch, if you're touching the plant's leaf, the touch me not plant's leaf, then you're providing it a stimulus. Touch is the stimulus over here. And because of that,
Yes, ma'am.
the plants will fold up. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So this is the example of a nastic movement. Also, you must know that the scientific name of touch me not plant is Mimosa pudica. Okay, Mimosa pudica. So like in the question, they may ask you a question like, what type of movement is seen in Mimosa pudica? So you should know which plant, first of all, Mimosa pudica is, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. And then you can say that, okay, in the Mimosa pudica, nastic movement takes place. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Now moving forward, let us talk about the growth related movements, meaning those movements that are actually dependent on the growth. So they are known as growth related movements. Now, when we were talking about the growth independent movements, they were known as nastic movements, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Now the growth related ones, meaning the growth dependent ones, will be known as tropic movements. What happens is that here the direction of response is actually very much dependent on the direction of the stimulus. Like how before it was independent, now it is dependent. Let us see the example. Now, have you heard about climbers?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the speciality about climbers? Can you tell me?
Ma'am, they are in support of something.
Correct. So, see, the example here is like a pea plant. Okay. Now, the pea plant has tendrils, or any climbers, they have tendrils present so that whenever you provide them with a support or a fence or another plant, they would climb on them for their
Yes, ma'am.
support, right? So it
Yes.
means that now see what is the meaning of the response being not dependent or dependent. When we were talking about the nastic movement, we saw that as soon as we touched the touch me not plant, it folds towards itself. Did it open towards us? Hmm?
No, ma'am. No,
No,
ma'am.
it did not open towards us. But now in the tropic movement, as soon as the tendril got a support, it wrapped around it. For example, if um, this is any flower and it is a climber and this is a tendril, the spring-like structure. Now, if you provide a fence, let's just say this is a fence. Now, as soon as it would come in contact, it will wrap around it. So can you see the response is towards it only, isn't it?
Yes. Yes,
Hmm.
ma'am.
So this is the very famous quality of a tropic movement. Okay, and the example is pea plant climber, and they use tendrils to climb since the tendrils are sensitive to touch. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Now talking about the movements, meaning what
Ma'am,
kind of, yes,
ma'am, can you repeat tendrils again?
sure. See, like I was telling you the example of the tropic movement, right? How they are different and how they are dependent. So here I took the example of a pea plant. Now, pea plant or any climber that climbs or takes a support, it takes with the help of tendrils. Tendrils are, have you seen tiny spring looking like structures on a stem? These are
Yes,
tendrils.
ma'am.
Okay, and with the help of tendril only, they would wrap around the stem or the support or anything that you provide. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Tendrils are
Yes,
the
ma'am.
structures for support.
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Now talking about what kind of a movement tropic movement is. So it is directional movement, meaning you can either see a positive direction or a negative direction. What is mean by positive and negative here? Is that the tropic movement can either be towards the stimulus, like how the pea plant climbers, you provided a fence and then the this thing tendril wrapped around the fence only. So that is towards the movement, right? Towards the stimulus.
Yes,
But
ma'am.
if it is away from the stimulus, then it is negative. So if it is away, then negative. If it is towards, then positive. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. Now, there are many types of tropic movements. So, first one is phototropism. The phenomena of showing tropic movement is known as tropism. Okay, we can say that
Yes, ma'am.
phenomena. Let me write it here also. So, the phenomena of showing tropic movements is called as tropism. Okay,
Yes,
tropism is
ma'am.
the word. Now we are changing the stimulus and the name changes on its own. For example, if the stimulus is light, then it will be phototropism. Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
the word photo is light. Okay, then if the
Yes, ma'am.
stimulus is gravity, then the name will be geotropism.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, if the stimulus is chemical, then the name would be chemotropism. If the stimulus is water, then it will be hydrotropism. And last one, if the stimulus is touch, then it will be known as thigmotropism.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes.
Now let us see what are the examples. So talking about the examples of phototropism, like how we know that the plants, they require sunlight to grow, isn't it? Sunlight to perform photosynthesis.
Yes, ma'am.
So we know that the shoot or the stem, they bend towards the light to receive the light, right? So this
Yes,
is
ma'am.
positive phototropism, meaning it is in the direction of the light, meaning in the direction of the stimulus. But do
Yes, ma'am.
the roots grow towards the light or away from it?
Away.
Away. Why? Because it is present below the soil, right?
Yes,
So
ma'am.
the roots would show negative phototropism, whereas the shoots will show positive phototropism. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, talking about geotropism and what is the example. Now, the roots, they grow downwards, right? Below the soil, and
Yes,
gravity
ma'am.
acts downward, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am.
So the roots are positively geotropic and the shoot is negatively geotropic because it grows against the gravity.
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear? Do you have any confusions?
No, ma'am.
Okay, good. Now let us talk about chemotropism. Here, what is the stimulus in chemotropism?
In chemotropism,
The stimulus is?
it will be leaves.
No. Like how in phototropism, the stimulus was light. Geotropism, the stimulus was gravity. So in chemotropism, what is the stimulus?
Chemical.
Chemical. So here, let us see what is the example. So the growth of pollen tube towards the ovules is an example of chemotropism because it happens as a response of certain chemicals.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so chemotropism. Now, if we compare the nastic movements to the tropic movements, so the growth independent movements, meaning the nastic movements, they are faster if you compare them with the tropic movement. How? See here. Like, have you ever noticed like how many days does it take for the shoot to come out of a seed if you have ever planted? It takes
Ma'am,
a
I
while.
didn't plant it.
Hmm? You didn't?
In this area, ma'am, this it's not possible to plant.
Where do you live?
I'm in UAE.
Where?
UAE.
Oh, okay, UAE. Where in UAE?
Ma'am, I'm in desert area.
Okay, you live in a desert area. Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. But you do know that it takes a while for the seed to give out the plant, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Hmm. So by this, like how if you touch a touch me not plant, it will quickly close. And that is a nastic movement. But if you want to grow a plant, then that would be slow. So always remember that the nastic movement, the growth independent movements would be faster as compared to the growth related movements. Meaning the nastic movements will be faster than the tropic movement. Got it?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts up till now?
No, ma'am.
Yeah, now you can note it up till now and then I'll move on to the plant hormones. Okay?
Okay, ma'am.
And tell me when you're done. So I'll scroll the screen for you.
Okay, ma'am. Finish, ma'am. Finish, ma'am. Finish, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Finish, teacher. Finish, ma'am. Finish, ma'am.
Is everything clear up till now?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
All right. So now let us talk about